Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 is, by almost every objective measure, a mess. It's rushed, buggy, and packed with design decisions that feel unfinished at best and outright broken at worst. Load times interrupt the flow constantly, physics can be unpredictable, and entire mechanics, like silver psychokinesis, feel like they need months more polish. Even the story swings wildly between ambitious and baffling, trying to balance high-stakes drama with awkward execution. And yet I keep coming back to it. Because underneath all that chaos, there is something strangely compelling. Sonic 06 has ideas, big ones, multiple campaigns, intertwining stories, a large hub world, ambitious set pieces. It feels like a game that aimed way higher than it could realistically reach. And sometimes when everything clicks for just a moment, you see a version of the game that it wanted to be. That's where it becomes more replayable to me than something like Sonic Colors. Colors is polished, it's clean, consistent, and far more stable, but it's also safe. Once you run through its levels and mastered its mechanics, there's not much left to discover beyond chasing better times. It doesn't surprise you after that first playthrough. 06, on the other hand, is unpredictable. Every replay feels a little different. Sometimes that's because of the glitches, sure, but sometimes it's because you approach its systems in new ways. You experiment more, you break things, you find weird shortcuts, odd interactions, or moments where the game almost feels brilliant by accident. It becomes less about perfection and more about curiosity. And when you take a step back, Sonic 06 isn't alone in this strange category of bad, but impossible to ignore. Take E.T. on the Atari 2600. It is one of the most infamous games ever made, rushed out in a few weeks, confusing to play, frustrating to control, and often blamed, fairly or otherwise, for contributing to the video game crash of '83. By most standards, it is a terrible experience. But its legacy is undeniable. People still talk about it, they study it, they revisit it, not because it's fun in the traditional sense, but because it represents a moment in gaming history where ambition, pressure, and poor execution collided. It's fascinating, it sticks with you. Then you have games that fail in a completely different way, games that don't just stumble, but vanish. Look at Concord, a big-budget, heavily marketed multiplayer game that launched and then effectively disappeared in less than 2 weeks. No long-term player base, no cult following, no ironic appreciation, just silence. It didn't fail in an interesting way. It didn't leave behind strange mechanics to explore or bold ideas to pick apart. It just faded. And that's the difference. There are bad games that are broken but ambitious, messy but memorable. Games like Sonic 06 that people keep coming back to because there's something there, buried under the flaws. Then there are bad games that are simply empty. No personality, no spark, nothing to rediscover once the initial curiosity is gone. Sonic 06 survives because it has that spark. It's frustrating, yes. It's inconsistent, absolutely. But it's also weirdly alive. Every time you boot it up, there's the possibility of something unexpected happening, whether that's a glitch, a clever sequence break, or a moment where the design almost comes together in a way that feels weirdly exciting. And that's possibly why I keep coming back. Because I'd rather replay something that is flawed and fascinating than something polished but predictable. Or worse, something so forgettable it disappears entirely.